Hi, my name's Dan, and in this video I'm going to show you a couple of things. Firstly, how to put objects into your Unreal worlds and how to uh, move the camera around in this viewport here. So this is really easy, to be honest. Uh, the basic thing that you need to know for putting objects in the world is drag and drop. And there are two areas in the editor that you can find stuff. So the first one is the built-in standard assets that you have access to, which is in the place actors area here on the top left-hand side. I've just selected basic, and there's some basic shapes here, like a sphere. And if I want that in my world, I just click and hold and drag that into the world. And we've got widget tools for moving things about, and I'll show you more on that in a later video. There's a cube. I want to put that in the world. Now, one of the things that you need to know about Unreal is that everything that, or pretty much everything that's having an effect in your world needs to be an object that's placed in your world. So, for example, if I click on all classes down here, which brings up more options, in fact, all the options, there's one here with a standard thing, which is an ambient sound asset. And if I want a sound to be playing, an ambient sound in the world, I need to place that asset in the world. Now, when you actually click play up here, which is when it actually simulates the playing of the game, we've got the cube and we've got the sphere. That sound thing is not appearing in the world. And it doesn't have any need for a particular position in the world to be defined, but we still need to put it inside our world for it to have an effect. And often people, when editing things and they're putting things like that in, they will drop assets like that down so they're beneath the world so that they don't get in the way when you're editing other things. So there's some basic stuff up here. There's some shapes, as I've shown you. There's some lights. There's a few more things here. There's geometry, which also has boxes and cones and stairs and spheres, and I'll deal with that in another video coming up. The other area that you've got is the content area, which is down here across the bottom, which looks like a file browser, because actually it is a file browser. And this will allow you to create and bring other assets into your Unreal projects. This is a third-person template project that I've started with what's called the starter content. And the starter content has a reasonable bunch of example assets that we can use. And I'm just inside their architecture. So they've got a wall with a door that I can put in there. They've also got props in here. So one of my favorites is this couch here that we can put in. And all you need to do is to drag them into the world. If you want another one, you drag again from the same assets down here in the content area, and it gives you another instance of that. So I now have two couches in the world. There are other things in here that you can't drag straight in or be useful. So here's materials. These are to do with how you view the surface of objects that you put in. If I try and drag that into the world, well, actually what it's done is it's applied it to the thing that I've dragged it over, but it's not created a new object in the world. So there we go. That's how you put objects in. Now, I also promised that I'd tell you how to move the camera around. This is reasonably straightforward when you get used to it. Moving cameras around in 3D is always a little bit of a pain in whatever situation that you find yourself in. So you'll see that I'm moving the camera, kind of rotating around the point where the camera is here. And there are two ways that I can do that. The first is to click the right mouse button, and the cursor disappears, that crosshair, and as I move the mouse, it moves the camera around. The second is to use the left mouse button. But the left mouse button is also used for selecting objects. So if I move the cursor over an object and click the left mouse button, it selects an object. So I prefer to use the right mouse button, but it doesn't matter. You can use whatever your preference is. If you click the middle mouse button, you then get a lateral movement. You get up, down, and side to side of your camera, wherever it happens to be. And then the other controls are to move the camera about. and obviously I can't show you my hand here, but I'm using the WASD keys, so W for forwards, S for back, and the camera when I'm not actually playing the game will move through any objects. It doesn't do collision. I'm doing side to side with A and D, so WASD, and also you've got Q for going down and E for going up. And usually this is done in combination with holding down a mouse, one of the mouse buttons. And in fact, if you use WASD without the mouse button, then it doesn't actually move you around, and some of those keys are hotkeys for something else. The other keys that you can use are the arrow keys, and you don't need to hold down a mouse button to use the arrow keys. That's because they're not used for other things as well. So if you're left-handed, particularly, you might have your mouse to the left of the computer and be using your right hand for moving about. And again, you can use that in conjunction with the rotation using the mouse. So the moving about is hold down one of the mouse buttons and use WASD, or you can use the arrow keys if you prefer, and Q and E take you up and down with the camera. Right, so that's a quick look at putting stuff into your level. That's it from me for now.